Food is never out of fashion. It's a sector, according to official data, that keeps on growing. The gross value of Britain's agri-food industry in 2022 was $186 billion. Cranswick Country Foods calls itself a farm-to-fork business and has the UK's largest pork-producing plant on the outskirts of Hull.
We ask two things of any government. One is access to markets and one is access to staff. We can do the rest ourselves. We're a very, very forthright business. We're a very precise business and we're a very demanding and future-looking business as well.
With 14,000 staff in 23 sites, they have a third of the UK pork market. 145,000 metric tons are prepared and delivered every year from here. Cranswick exports to more than 25 countries and its annual turnover is $3.3 billion.
Who forms the next government and which policies it introduces will be hugely influential to bigger companies and smaller businesses after three major shocks to the UK economy. They are, of course, Brexit, the COVID pandemic and the continuing battle between Ukraine and Russia in Eastern Europe.
Katrina Moore moved to this renovated shop 18 months ago. Her flowers cost more now since she imports from the Netherlands. New custom checks and tariffs leads to delay and costs being passed on by wholesalers.
The annoying thing is when you didn't have to have all these checks before and you could get a delivery within 24 hours. Now you've got to have a delivery within 48 hours. So if you order it on a Monday, you can't get it till a Wednesday. Whereas before Brexit and before all the different changes, we could get it in within 24 hours.
Another issue is buying online, which leads to emptier streets and fewer shops in city centres like Hull. There's also the rising cost of living that's crippled tens of thousands of families in the UK, forcing many to depend on support and public services.
I think there are a lot of challenges there, and I think it's going to be difficult to address those. It's partly also difficult when there are certain constraints over, for example, saying the tax burden is at its highest, say, for about the last 50 to 70 years. Now that applies an extra constraint.
To feed its expansion into poultry and Mediterranean food, as well as pork, Cranswick's profits are ploughed back into the business. Forward planning often leads to growth and an increase in revenue, but that depends on stability and an assured government.
We want to invest heavily in the future, but we need planning in order to be able to achieve that. So those are the areas that we'd like the support on, and an area and an interest in the expansion and promoting our products internationally as well as at the local level.
The 2-kilometre Humber Bridge is a gateway to the south. The wide estuary and the port of Hull is connected to Rotterdam. More investments will be expected from a new government to stimulate growth, but the unknown factor is if higher taxes will have to be paid to fund it. Iolo Dafydd, CGTN, Hull in Northern England.